He does not do these sorts of things because he thinks it's going to benefit him. You can say many things about Cenk. You can't say he's a grifter. It's sad to recognize that this is a genuine change of attitude in his mind that he just cannot comprehend. That's what it is. Like, he's not like farming. He's not trying to like actively farm the right-wing audience. Anyway, the next generation of progressive pundits is here. They're not on MSNBC. They're streaming on YouTube and Twitch. On June 14, millions of people across the country took to the streets to protest corruption and autocracy of the second Trump administration. When they went home, many didn't turn on MSNBC, which for years has styled itself as the nation's leading cable news hub for liberals. When it comes to political news and commentary, many younger viewers these days aren't turning on the TV at all. Instead, they're going online to watch YouTube shows. The Young Turks, a progressive news and talk show with a pugilist streak. The Majority Report with Sam Cedar, a commentary and column program with sly sensibility. And the seemingly endless, catchy dispatches of the socialist Twitch streamer Hasan Piker. MSNBC struggles during Donald Trump's second term. Its total viewership is down about 15% compared to a year ago. Stem from some familiar problems, including cord cutting, the bane of all cable outfits. They can also be traced to unique missteps, such as the decision to send the host of the network's flagship Morning Joe program to visit Trump's Mar-a-Lago clubhouse shortly after his 2024 victory to cozy up to a man they had spent much of the year decrying as a fascist, a decision that rightfully attracted the ire of Morning Joe's viewers. Facing something it has never before, competition. The network's bread and butter anti-Trump coverage hasn't disappeared, but similar coverage now exists online, too, and the younger viewers that advertisers covet have migrated there, where they found an abundance of progressive commentary, much of it more strident and unabashedly left-wing than what MSNBC is typically proffered. Younger viewers aren't tuning into cable. They're logging on the streaming platforms. Piker now commands over 35,000 average concurrent viewers on Twitch, while the Young Turks viewership rose by 26% on YouTube and 135% on Facebook. The Majority Report has seen its viewership rise by 18% on YouTube from last year and has seen a 48% increase in its subscribers. By contrast, MSNBC has an average of 57,000 viewers in the 25 to 54 age demographic during the second quarter of 2025. Part of the shift, 25 to 54 is a crazy bracket, by the way. It used to be, when I was in advertising, it was 18 to 35. But because no one under the age of 35 is like actually watching shit, okay, that they just have expanded into 25 to 54. Yeah, it used to be 18 to 25 demo. It's not even a thing anymore. And even then, it's so unimaginably low, by the way. Part of the shift may come from viewers' angers, not just at Trump, but from the Democratic Party that failed to stop his return. By that same measure, these often idealistic viewers feel let down by an establishment media apparatus surrounding the Democrats that they saw as too eager to prop up the visibly declining President Joe Biden, and too reluctant to ask whether his decision to run for re-election might be a disaster, or whether his unwavering support for Benjamin Netanyahu would be morally and politically toxic. There's an audience that was looking for people to express the outrage and anger that they were feeling, seeing Trump's actions, and also the Democratic parties, and by extension, some of the media that's more closely associated with the party, said Emma Vigeland, the co-host of Majority Report. Now online progressives are building the next generation of left media and fighting over what it will stand for. The online leftist video space is the largest permutation of an alternative media movement that began during George W. Bush's first administration as an attempt to counter the influence of Fox News and right-wing talk radio. This is true. The blogosphere, okay? One of the central voices in that space has been attorney Cenk Uygur, who founded the Young Turks in 2002 alongside fellow progressive Ben Mankiewicz and Dave Kohler, and continues to co-host the Young Turks alongside Anna Kasparian. TYT and its flagship program went through a variety of phases, at one point airing on Al Gore's Current TV. Today it exists, that's when I was working there. Today it exists as a largely advertiser and user-supported live streaming platform. Uygur also had a brief stint at MSNBC in 2010 and never misses an opportunity to bash his former employers. They are pure propaganda for corporate Democrats, he said, which are indistinguishable from corporate establishment Republicans. Another leading platform that got a start in the early aughts began on Air America Radio Network as a policy-heavy talk show hosted by two comedians, Sam Cedar and Janine Garofalo, before migrating Sans Garofalo to TYT Network. Like TYT, it currently has its own platform, but many of its fans have found it through YouTube clips and Facebook videos. Both shows were supercharged by 2016 Bernie Sanders campaign and Trump's subsequent victory. Around this time, a number of other key players have began entering the picture, including Uygur's nephew, Hasan Piker, who started interning at TYT while attending Rutgers and eventually began hosting The Breakdown, a short-form Facebook video show that premiered in 2016. 2 years later, he began hosting marathon streams at Twitch, a platform mostly used by gamers. He left TYT in 2020 to go solo. The tall, handsome, and charismatic Piker was quickly termed a woke bae by BuzzFeed as he built an audience by live streaming every day, often for 8 hours or more. He's been profiled by the New York Times and appeared on The Daily Show, and is held up by some as the left's answer to Joe Rogan, a broadcaster who could reach young men more interested in video games than politics. With his caustic wit, broy vernacular, and barely obscured bleeding heart, Piker stands out in an online sphere where progressives are outnumbered by well-funded and often young right-wing personalities like Ben Shapiro, who co-founded the media network The Daily Wire. But Piker's success will be hard to replicate as much as Democrat investors might try, partly because of natural charisma and deeply felt convictions about politically divisive subjects are difficult to reverse engineer, and also partly because Piker endears himself to his young audience with a naughty, often boundary-pushing sense of humor that would likely make the adults in the room skittish. The same institutional investors of the Republican Party happen to be investors of the Daily Wire, and they understand the value of propaganda, Piker told me. They flood the market. Their propaganda is not inherently against the interests of the party. While right-wing YouTube shows basically repeat Republican talking points, the left-wing shows tend to push for policies that are seen as political liabilities by much of the Democratic establishment, such as wealth taxes and Medicare for all. My worldview is not aligned with Hakeem Jeffries, Piker observed, whereas Ben Shapiro on any given day is basically saying the exact same things that Ted Cruz is saying. The difference goes even deeper than that, however. Democrats run away from their base, Piker told me. The Republicans run towards their base. According to Piker, he too runs towards his base. And he said it's because of this that it's not even a question of whether he does better with 18 to 35-year-olds than Fox News does. He predicts that when the 2020 election rolls around, every candidate will try and come and talk to me. Another newly prominent figure who emerged during the year's Trump victory is Vigeland, the co-host of Majority Report. She has a palpable, open-hearted sincerity and a good-natured sense of humor that offers a much-needed ballast to a combative all-elbows movement. Vigeland's career began when she interned at TYT during the 2016 election. We worked together. For those of you who don't know, that's old lore. She stayed on at the network after the election, and then in 2020 took a job at the Majority Report. I'm going to have Emma on the broadcast tomorrow, or on Saturday potentially, by the way. Very excited for that. Vigeland has since emerged as a voice of empathetic moral outrage over ICE raids and the genocide in Gaza, subjects that are often avoided or obscured in more mainstream liberal spaces, and as a counterbalance to the more sardonic Cedar. If the progressive YouTube space is seen as being hostile to the mainstream Democratic Party, Vigeland has recently made an effort to broker peace. She has lately been appearing on different shows that are broadly on the side of the left to bring folks together and bridge that everlasting 2016 divide between more progressive Bernie-associated people and more traditional... What? Okay. Immediately, as soon as a woman is mentioned on the broadcast, there are some chatters who are being absolute freaks. Okay. And they will get subsequently banned. It's crazy. If the progressive YouTube space is seen as being hostile to the mainstream Democratic Party, Vigeland has recently made an effort to broker peace. He appeared in a conservative group, Turning Point USA's America Press conference in Phoenix, where he talked with right-wing commentator Charlie Kirk. This is Jank, high-fiving him near the end. I got the crowd to boo Dick Cheney and Mitch McConnell. We disagreed in parts. We agreed in parts. We talked about how private equity is driving up home prices and how Wall Street should be banished from buying residential property, he told me. We still have massive disagreements with the right, but shocking agreements were breaking out. Vigeland and other members of the left had a different take, arguing that the audience was just excited to have somebody who presents themselves as left-wing validating their ideas. I think they're right. To her, Uyghur wasn't doing outreach. He was serving as a tool for the ends of conservative media. She, like many other leftists, suspected a more sinister goal. It seems to me more like a business strategy than one that's actually interested in building a durable movement. This part I disagree with. I know Jank. He is my uncle. He does not do these sorts of things because he thinks it's going to benefit him. You can say many things about Jank. You can't say he's a grifter. It's sad to recognize that this is a genuine change of attitude in his mind that he just cannot comprehend. That's what it is. Like, he's not like farming. He's not trying to like actively farm the right-wing audience. More, in my opinion, right-wing as time has gone along. He's also always been a fucking super pro-capitalist guy. Uyghur has come under particular fire by Vigeland and many others in progressive new media for suggesting that Democrats are suffering electorally by emphasizing trans rights, inclusive language, and particularly the trans athlete debate, a move that is seen by his critics as a starting point towards a slippery slope that ends with throwing vulnerable group under the bus. I believe in trans rights past the point of popularity, to be honest, he said, pushing back on this claim and noting that he supports trans kids in sports through high school and has long advocated for trans people to use the bathroom of their choice. He asked Kirk if trans people should have constitutional protection against discrimination. For Uyghur, his actual differences with his critics are microscopic. I want to talk about $15 minimum wage, paid family leave, and negotiating drug prices. Those are the places that make a giant difference in people's lives, he said. Piker, acknowledging that leftist infighting is the number one thing that people love doing, had a polite but spirited debate over all this and more with his uncle during an annual Thanksgiving live stream dubbed Janksgiving. While he's quick to say, I love my uncle, Piker also acknowledged that they argue all the time and debate all the time publicly too. According to Piker, they fundamentally disagree about criminal justice reform. Uyghur thinks the left acts as if crime doesn't exist, whereas Piker recognizes the United States is a very reactionary, very draconian carceral state. They also disagree about whether MAGA is a true populist uprising against the elites or just a grievance-driven personality cult. I think it's just hokum, Piker told me, laughing at the idea of MAGA communists. Uyghur pioneered the online progressive commentary world that is currently thriving. He's also self-aggrandizing. He launched a quixotic campaign to primary Biden in 2023 and a bit of a blowhard. He's apologized for making boorish blog posts about women. He has also been ahead of the curve, both politically and in terms of new media. He was an early backer of Sanders. His Just Democrats PAC helped discover AOC. He predicted that Trump would win in 2016. And he said that Biden's age would doom his reelection prospects when few, if any, on MSNBC would dare utter such a statement. All these things are true, by the way. He did do all of those things. It's doubtful that Kyle Kalinske and Cenk at the Justice Democrats were formative in the development of the Justice Democrats. Like that was their thing. The AOC +4 or whatever the fuck Trump calls them now. Yeah. I mean, no hate, but just curious. Don't you get bored covering politics 24/7 for ages? I know it's your career, but surely it takes a toll on you. No, I love politics. I'm an incredibly stubborn person and I want to make change. And sometimes you got to take matters in your own fucking hands. It's not because this is my job. At this stage of my career as a Twitch streamer, I could pivot, maybe even take a fucking marginal cut of the audience that's tuning in just for politics and just do fun shit and slowly but surely rebuild an audience that's only invested in fun shit, drama, things of that nature. But the reason why I don't do that is because I love what I'm doing here. I love this. No, we would cancel you. No, it wouldn't matter. Your cancellation would not matter. Cancellations do not matter at all. Many people who have been in here since I had like 35 people watching me, 35 total people watching me, know that my positions on a lot of these issues have not changed at all. There are some signs in 2025 that it may be moving past him for the first time, though Uyghur, of course, is going nowhere. I think it feels wrong by a lot of people in the progressive wing, some of whom initially directly came from TYT and now shit on TYT, Piker said. Progressive media is in danger of becoming too personality driven. Uyghur says something, his critics respond, Uyghur fights back forever and ever. When this happens, Piker said, that conversation becomes the only thing you're talking about. You're no longer a news network, you're a drama network. Damn. I don't even remember fucking spitting bars like this. See, I do wish we would do more fun shit. For the last year, it feels like 90% serious, 10% less serious. You run your own show, obviously, but it'd be nice to get close to a 70-30 at least. I agree. One thing everyone seems to agree on is that this is a huge moment for progressives and the YouTubers and Twitch streamers they increasingly flock to. The only reason we haven't won before is because of the mainstream ecosystem. The media ecosystem, and I'm optimistic because mainstream media has been defeated, Uyghur said. Our side is the most popular side and the most authentic side, and the one that can't wait to fight for the voters and deliver for the voters. So good luck to everyone else. We're going to win. Michael Tedder is the author of Top 8, How MySpace Changed Music, and the managing editor of Antics. I'll do some fun stuff. In Chicago. Another $20,000 article, well spent and well worth.